Hello, ladies. Lots of oops to daisies happening in Mexico right now, and Colorado, doing a huge yikes, which is not good. If it does pass, it might not. I don't think it will. If it does, that'd be crazy. I would even say that when stuff like this gets to legislation, it's good that people like get mad, but I don't think stuff. I mean, it might it might actually pass. We do live in a clown moment. We do live in Clown Town right now. We're gonna. Man, I really need to get a giant mug. Okay, now that I've done posting on the internet, we're gonna dig. We're gonna dig deep. I think that opsec is gonna be king of the big 2026. I believe that not even just opsec in general, poisoning the well and looking for kind of like other forms of maybe some extreme opsec. Find some sites. OPSEC 101. I like reading random blogs I find, especially if they have the word OPSEC 101. It's always funny. This page is a crime, though, that it's written with a white background. With more and more devices that are connected to Cyber News is dog shit. Their writing is terrible. They do like a lot of AI videos. Can't spell today. I'm gonna put some chill music in the background. Copyright free. And then let's go to the EFF. See what they got. Probably have to dig deep. Remember, open-based is safe from these bills disguised as the computer attacks. True, open-based is probably super safe. I mean, computer attacks disguised as bills. Yeah, we're gonna. Doesn't the EFF have like an onion site? I thought they did. Maybe just ITP. ITP. My build rate is doing very based right now. 42%. After a restart. Okay. I think they're still going through an attack. Oh shit, you're blazing. Might try to set up open WRT, as you should. Open WRT is based. Yeah, all these sites seem like they're kind of like not doing so sexy. Oh, EFF looks like it's maybe. My opsec is offline because, as I've said, my ISP has to be the one doing the personal ITP attacks against me. Maybe you should pay your bill in time, Billy. OpenBSD ITP and NetBSD PW should be up. I was able to connect a couple days ago. Yeah, I saw, but it didn't. It might be my router might not be there yet. It's only been running for about 23 minutes. Sometimes I've seen it where it doesn't build anything for at least 30 minutes. Or OpenBSD. Alright, there's a site I found called opsec 101. And then Malwarebytes Labs talks about age verification, vendor personal left front end exposes. Research says Persona, I think they're like a huge age verification vendor. All right. Notes. Gino? Oh, no. What up, brother? Hope you're doing good. Oh, need the water. Back. Yeah, back with the water. So, like, OPSEC is, I know it seems like a kind of like a dead horse kind of like thought process is that I believe that people kind of like focus on like the wrong things and it prevents it. You can look at like OPSEC failures and sometimes it's just very simple stuff. It's very simple things that people take for granted. Like they use like a good example is maybe a lack. There is like a degree of laxism, like where you're too laxism, like where you're too like relaxed, and that would make it very difficult to Eldo Kim. Isn't this the guy that Oh, like here's a good one. We'll look at that. So OPSEC like 101. We'll read this. In this guide, we'll cover the basics of OPSEC in a way that anyone should be able to understand. It's very easy to understand, I guess. Don't start with countermeasures. Countermeasures come last. A countermeasure only means a measure response to a counter threat. Countermeasures can be the browser you use to hide your fingerprint on websites, the lock on your front door to keep your intruders out, your VPN that helps hide your location, strong passwords managers, key-based logins, etc. are countermeasures to frustrate attempts to gain unauthorized access. Yeah, that would be. If adding a deadbolt on your door makes your home safe overall, why wouldn't you want to add one at every door in the house? Because it'd be inconvenient. While it might slow you down and frustrate the home invader, it would also mean every time you go to the bathroom or kitchen anywhere in your house, you'd be pulling out a key and locking and unlocking doors. This might be necessary for inside a bank, but for most people's homes, it would be complicated life and potentially increased liability if there's an emergency. That's true. There's, how do you perform a man-in-the-middle attack on Tor from the film Mr. Robot? What do you mean? Like, on Tor, you would have to have a lot of money. It's not something that normal people do. Like, in order to achieve actually a man-in-the-middle attack, it's possible. I mean, it's mainly governments that do this because they, again, have unlimited money. It's very coordinated. It's like a very coordinated thing. It's not... Mr. Robot is like very hyperbolic. It's got a lot of truth in there, but it's a very hyperbolic thing. It's not something that... Hacking is very unsexy and boring. Like, actual hacking... That's why I think a lot of people LARP. I don't LARP as a hacker. I don't think I'm a hacker. But I think a lot of people LARP on the internet. Because it's a really long... there's low-hanging... Generally, you want low-hanging fruit. Like, you don't need to hack Tor or do, like, man-in-the-middle attacks to achieve, like, a goal. You just got to have really good social engineering skills. I think that's, like, probably the best is to look for some form of like people relaxing too much and not sticking to a plan that's efficient. That's your real, like, threat. There's no really way to perform a man-in-the-middle attack without boatloads of money. Or a botnet. You can rent them. It's not impossible. You have to have money. If a VPN hides your location, why wouldn't you want to use all the time? VPN might work, hide your real IP address, but from questionable sites, but websites such as government or banking websites that use data to confirm your identity. Spoofing that can cause complications such as account freezes. YouTube won't let me say these things. Obviously, George Orwell was a psychic, and his novel was a way of telling the future. We prepared for it with the dark web, I2P, HyphenNet, FreeNet, GuineaNet, 098. Yeah, it's true. Animalized hacker. Yeah, I mean, like, I even said this before, and I think people get irated about it. Like, if you're logging into your banking account with a VPN on, you're not really achieving any form of level of privacy. Your bank already knows who you are. I think there is a level of, like, people, like, overuse, like, VPNs. I think there is a use for it, and it's nice to have. But in reality, like, your bank already knows. If you're, like, using Tor to sign into your Facebook, you kind of, like, fucked yourself. Like, they're like, oh, no, this retard fucking, like, use Tor. We still know who you are at the end of the day. You gotta, like, kind of, like, take a bunch of tools and I guess, like, a level of common sense to be efficient. Like, you gotta think outside the box. And that's where kind of poisoning the well comes from. Like, when you want to poison the well, when you want to take that information that people think that they have about you, and you want to spread it across everywhere. I think a good understanding of this is we'll take it's been synced in a while. So we're gonna take Billy Bo Jenkins. Billy Bob Jenkins 1 2. So if Billy, say that's not even his, let's just give the benefit of the doubt that Billy Bob Jenkins is that's not obviously their real name. Billy Bob Jenkins could be a girl. They could pose as a girl, and Billy Bob Jenkins could be a girl, but give the persona of a man. So that takes away a data point away from Billy Bob Jenkins. This would be probably good things. I would say good opsec in a sense. There's certain things you can lie about and feed into your online persona. You can give a fake job. Doesn't matter. You can give. I mean, there's a plethora of things that you can do in order to protect your like anonymity and your privacy in general, and it's about giving what obviously Billy Bob Jenkins is a pseudonym. Who wouldn't assume that? But that's what a person would say. That's a pseudonym. That could be your real name, and you could just be doing some reverse psychology, some 5-level D chess right there. The point is to keep people guessing. It could be your real name. It doesn't really matter. Billy Bob Jenkins is probably a completely real name. But the thing is, if you use that, if you've ever used, say, this would be an example of bad opsec. If you use the same username in real IRL and like kind of like the same format, this would be what I would consider a linkage. You'll link it. People generally have like really like people generally have like really good like they have habits that make them somewhat more desirable, and these habits will generally come from doing things repetitively for convenience. Another good opsec would be to, I guess, use tools that change maybe your time zone. Your keystrokes. I mean, for all you guys know, I could be a fast typer. And bad opsec would be typing the same. Typing the same everywhere and very specific. Stroking the cutie. Yeah. So if you're doing stuff like you're typing the same everywhere in a very specific, I would say, format, that's even doing some form of data point that creates like a level of deniability. Now, you don't have to be like paranoid and be like, is my hard drive listening to me or is like my mouse listening to me? Unless you're obviously like in a high level of power where that might actually be a real threat, but like average person, probably not. And everybody kind of gives away like, some form of opsec, but you want to go back to, again, poisoning the well. Now, Edward Snowden's kind of like a prime example of this. People know what he looks like. They assume he's in Russia when he could very well be not, and he backed Zcash, which makes me think he's a federal agent. So, once a Fed, always a Fed. How much OPSEC you need depends on your threat model. Um, yes and no. I mean, I agree that yeah, your threat model should be a part of it, but I think there's a baseline of OPSEC that I think I think there's a baseline of OPSEC that everyone should have. I think there's a standard that everyone should start, and I think there should be like a pretty baseline standard that makes it, because everyone could be like, oh, it's unique to everyone's case, but I think baseline OPSEC is how you get started. It's kind of like the Google Play services with Graphene OS. You might install it at first, and then you start removing apps that you don't need, that don't require the Play Store, that you can still get updates, and then eventually you might get rid of it. But I think everyone has a baseline that starts somewhere. I would say that the baseline would be creating like a whole identity, like your own identity, and making sure that you stick to this identity, like you memorize it. Like if you got pulled over by the police and you chose the name, Connor Big Balls or something, and you live in Oklahoma, and you like go. I think a good thing to do, this sounds crazy, is to go out in a bar locally, make a fake persona, and stick with it every time you go there. Like make up some shit, make a fake life, go there, and then recreate that over and over and over and over until you get very comfortable doing it. Like lie to strangers, unless you want to build a meaningful, loving relationship. Then don't do that. That's probably not a. That's like the plot of like some shit movie. But I think it'd be a good, like, or if you're out of the country and you're never going to see these people again, do like make a fake person and go there. So be it to you. Jay, you have a wife, so I assume you're not cheating on your wife. The fact that you got married is crazy. You should be appreciated. Don't like. I mean, if you have a wife, you shouldn't be going out to the bar. I mean, you can go out to the bar like by yourself, but you shouldn't be like looking for people, looking for like ladies. Well, I'm assuming J Liz, J Liz is not your real name. I'm assuming it's Tiny Balls. I'm just convinced everyone is Ryan in the chat, and he really didn't leave us. Just tell my name is Hendrix. I do fake name generator before I go out. And I come up with the most unrealistic shit that people just believe. I think people just like NPC when they're at they're at like events, and I'm like, yes, yeah, my name is Kurt. It was stupid to nickname at work. Terrible OPSEC. Now we're gonna find out where Jay works. to the T. Was this when you were at Burger King? So if using so back to if using a strong password and changing them often makes you safer, why wouldn't you want to change your phone's password every day to a new 124 character length password made up of random characters? So I use it everywhere. I don't work there anymore. You don't work at Arby's anymore. Depending on how often you need to use your phone, having a long password to unlock it may take you unproductive at best. Imagine entering a password that takes 10 minutes to type out every time you want to respond to a message. This might make sense for a device that gains access to our government's nuclear control facilities, but for most of us, it's far beyond the point of just, Jack in the Box. What if Jay Ellis is poisoning the well again, and he actually works at Comcast, and that's why you can't connect to I2P, because he's secretly killing your tunnels. It is interesting that my tunnels are working and yours aren't. Oh, it's going down. Oh, it went down to 19%. Never mind. And it's interesting that Jay is here and now I'm getting low success rate. Oh. It is quick evidence without a rational threat or otherwise clear reason for countermeasures. You end up spending time and energy and even money for little to no benefit on a threat that may never materialize. Worsening, doing so in your case, increasing your liability in a tax service. The countermeasure first approach is unsustainable and misleading and fundamentally ignores two programs. Convenience is inevitably a proportion to safety and security. The more secure we make things, the less convenient they become, and more liability of vulnerabilities may be introduced. Thanks, Shadow Nellis. Shadow from Sonic. The more you attempt to secure something, the more attention it can bring, potentially increasing threats, often hiding in plain sight, more effective. To combat this, we put countermeasures in the back and focus on the rational first. It's called opsec process. The opsec process is a list of questions that help rationally assess the threat and judge of the efficiency even necessary of the counter. Jay Lewis works at every ISP and he's filling in our I2P tunnels. That'd be a terrible job. I'm siphoning your Wi-Fi. That just sounds gay. I would say that actually this is like kind of like my argument against people that look at Intel management system as a threat, when in reality it's probably less of a threat depending on where you're at than where you could, if you tighten your front door, your back door, your mirror, your walls, and people, and someone only has like one way to get into your house, and you know it. I think that would be better than focusing on that one area of your house and not tightening the security around it, where you don't know where someone's going to come in or not. Funneling is kind of a if me having, so like I have I do biometric unlock sometimes for convenience, but when I'm out of the country or I'm out in public for long periods of time, travel to Canada and show up to a bar saying they call me Jumbo Randy. Really, I should do that. My wife never locks the back gate. Pisses me off so much. Yeah, especially where you're at, where people are probably just shooting fentanyl to their balls in your backyard and you don't even know it. Like people that stare at like the Intel management's like black door, and they're like, "This is it, guys. This is the final level of privacy." But if you lock, I do biometric unlocking, like the fingerprint unlocking in some aspects, but if I leave the country, I remove it, or if I'm out in like a prolonged outside of my house, I remove it, because there's no real like protection There's nothing that really protects it, like on a law level in like the United States. So it's pros and cons. Like I have a pretty long password, and I have a duress pin that I will use, and then my phone, depending on where I'm at in the country, will reboot either respectively 12, 6, or every couple hours, depending where I'm at. I don't really care if my phone reboots every like 6 hours. You made me spit out my Camel IT by saying people shoot into their balls. Who drinks chamomile tea, though, besides old people? That seems like someone who has like, have you ever played Roblox? No. It sounds terrible, actually. To combat this, food for thought, some guides recommend taking best practice approach to security, such as recommending everyone use a VPN, password managers, and the best, etc. This best practice fallacy is a countermeasure to the first approach based on the study of success rather than the failures, and such is such an insufficient starting point when assessing highly individuals and dynamic topics such as security and privacy. In reality, while the countermeasures recommend might end up working for some of the people some of the time, that merely indicates that threat models for those people happen to be similar at the moment. It doesn't teach why, nor it adapts for when it's not similar. And this is why, rather than making assumptions based on best practices fallacy, opsec seeks to understand the rationale to make a reproducible judgment in a dynamic situation, to educate oneself through practice and point and not needing any guides. Yeah, I could say I could see that. Like, I mean, best practice is best practice does make sense that it won't dynamically scale. The last time I played Roblox, it performed so trash compared to the year before. Last time I played Roblox, I think everyone who plays that game should use a VPN. Yeah, probably now. I would say that it probably doesn't, dynamically scale as well. Like, cause I think everyone should use a password manager. That's just because most people can't make good passwords. I mean, that's just retarded. And I would say even browser-wise, you should probably avoid Firefox and use a nice, hardened, secured browser that respects your privacy. I know a lot of people like Mozilla, but Mozilla is very sexy with Google, and they're kind of going down a dark path. Even all the forks, it's like whatever. It's not nearly good as a Chrome-based browser. I know people are like, oh my god, Chrome, but that's not the point. Chrome, like, having a good, secure browser is, like, pretty... I know Tor is based on Firefox, but that's not the point. And there's even some, there is some argument that Tor should have never based it off Firefox. They should have went with Chrome. And you can technically do it. You can, but it would actually kill your it would make you very fingerprintable because it would look very strange. Because they'd be like, you're not set up like everyone else. Like, my browser is like everyone else. Then there's some malice. There's some weight to having everyone look relatively the same. My gut tells me not to use Firefox. Firefox's biggest problem, I don't know if it's still true. LibreWolf is much better than and Iron Wolf is a better version, but I believe the main problem is Firefox doesn't have GPU it's not actually its sandboxing isn't as good, and like that is a problem, and you have to do a lot of tweaking to actually get Firefox relatively secure, and on top of it, the privacy part is kind of like here or there. I mean, like, I don't think Mozilla respects your privacy any more than Brave. Brave, Internet Explorer, and XMPP speak. Golfing prohibited. That'd be kind of funny. I wouldn't use Internet Explorer because it's ugly. What is the one that everyone was shilling? Arc browser, or is it Florp? They had that company, and it was actually pretty gay. Is it Florp? No, Arc browser or something. Remember all the sponsorships for this shit? Browser sponsorships are absolutely cancer. Yeah. Yeah, no think on this one. Meet Diet, the next evolution of Arc. Yeah, a company called the Browser Company just sounds. It sounds like a fucking dystopian. Arc is a freeware browser that was developed by the Browser Company, an American startup company founded by Josh Miller. He was the director of product for the White House, and previously he was the co-founder and CEO of Branch, which later sold to Facebook. Yeah, fuck this guy. What about Mobile browser? It's good. It's cool. I like it. It's based on Firefox, though. Wow. This came out 2 years ago, and it still sucks. Its Arc is based on Chromium and written in Swift. It supports Google Chrome's browser extension and Google Search by default. YouTube's been deleting my live messages again. Huh, that's interesting. I've never I think I only had that happen to me when I tried to do links. In high school, Miller was a finalist at the CNN Hero Award and featured speaker at the Aspen Ideas. What the fuck is a CNN Hero? Oh. Facebook, Miller led the Rooms app. Rooms? What's Facebook Rooms? Brave's private window with Tor feature I'd not recommend. User agent screams Chrome-based browser. I wouldn't use it because your resolution is different and there's too much tweaking that you've done that it makes it very you're gonna look very unique. I mean, that would I'm just saying from a pure like if it's a one-time thing, it's not a huge thing. And Brave is Network Chuck's favorite browser. Yeah, that is. I think Brave does good anti-fingerprinting. I believe that it's more than just a browser. I think it's just a lot of people hate on it because of some shitty things they do. I use an app called Rooms for IRC, but that was on the iPhone 4S. Apple people, man, they really love it. I can't even remember if I've ever owned an Apple product. Long ass time ago. This could be information. 4S was the best iPhone. Yeah, but it looked the worst. I like big screen. What needs protecting? This could be information, physical items, your personal health, or anything that has a value. Thought experiment. Have you ever left your phone on a desk at work while turning your back to talk to a colleague? Could it have been stolen in that moment? Yeah. What about the 6S? Depending on what your relationship with your colleagues, the level of safety comment in the said workplace, the type of workplace, and the value of the phone, information on it, or access provided. That phone may either need to be handcuffed to you and can't be lent to a colleague unlocked without incurring any risk. This is actually, yeah, you do. Like big screen. The funny thing is actually, Graphene OS allows you to lend someone your phone. You can make a guest profile, and it destroys it. It's actually one of the best features. You can just set up guests. They can make their call or do whatever, and then you kill it. I think so. So at what point someone wanted to use my phone? I'm like, no, in my head. And I just let him use that to make a call. Got water, based, as you should. Water good. But yeah, you can do. You can create a guest in Graphene OS. It's very nice. And you can have a delete activity. Allow goes guests to make phone calls, send notifications to your current user. So it'll be gone. Just made it a loaf of bread. That's very interesting. That's a very interesting thing to do. Are you gonna give it to people in your backyard who shoot fantasy footballs? That'd be funny. Thought experiment. Have you ever left? Depending on what your relationship is, have you ever left your front door while carrying multiple loads of groceries or a moving box in the car from the living room? Couldn't someone have entered the house in that moment? The physical safety of keeping the doors locked is open is based on the likelihood of someone trying to enter. You can usually visually inspect your surroundings well enough to see if the likelihood or not, but how serious do you take this will likely depend on the safety of your neighborhood. Same neighborhoods, you could leave your front door open all day without incurring any risk. Others add a security door to your house your house may just get it stolen in the night. It's true. All you need is a bread maker. Bread maker, good. The fact whether something needs protecting in that moment may or not largely depend on what the future threat might be. What is a potential threat? Most people don't need help identifying common, obvious physical threats. We encounter enough of those in our course of daily lives, and it becomes second nature for most. While identifying them, tend to internally ask ourselves questions to assess the potential threats. What time is it? 2 a.m.? Why is someone at my front door? Why would they want me? What do they want? Are they trying to solicit? Are they trying to sell pizza? Are they injecting fent into their balls on Jay's backyard? These are all questions that we need to know. Do they look suspicious otherwise? Do they look scary? Who's that in the alley with me? Do I know them? Are they far away enough? Am I safe? Are they following me, or are they just walking in the same direction? Why is that person at the ATM so close to me? Is it accidental or on purpose? Are they the elderly or blind? All you need for opsec is a pseudonym, alias, and blending in. Gray man. I think you need more. Aliases can only get you so far, and blending in, gray manning is kind of cringe, but I get what you're saying. Because why not? Why are you being gray? Is grayman the correct term for this? Yeah, kind of. They use that really in like civil, like civilian. Grayman is like what people that cosplay cosplay military. Like they didn't join the military, they just cosplay military. That's what they use. But it's a pretty common term with like preppers and like schizophrenic people that think the world is gonna end and collapse. like Civil Wars tomorrow, Civil Wars tomorrow kind of people. Yeah, so I would say it's correct because you do want to blend in with your environment. But blend into what? Like what environment? The internet is such a vast, huge platform. It's like, what are you blending in? Are you looking so unique that people are going to start looking at you? Um, you know, are you like, what's your level of opsec that you are trying to achieve? What's your threat model? If it's just really, if the average person like wrote down like what they don't want happening to them, I guarantee like a vast majority of them could get away with like a VPN, password manager, and unironically just a browser that blocks ads and changing some habits. Most people don't like ads. That's like the main one, and they don't want their identity stolen, etc., etc. They hate. Most people just hate ads, and I think if you start there, that's where like then people start getting their own like flow and path to like what they demean they want to stay private and what stuff other stuff they don't care if it's private or not. Gonna get some water. Cat is at it again. He's retarded. I'm making a lot of false statements about OPSEC without thinking. I wouldn't say they're false. I mean, they're like you should like a pseudonym is good, and blending in is good, but I think it's like kind of like an oversimplification of it. Uh, oh, you make a lot of false statements in general, but like I think it's like it's complicated because I don't think there's really a right answer. Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't want to say it's simplified because we're getting in a landscape where it's not as simple as just have like a pseudonym. I mean, yes, to a degree that if people want to find you, they'll find you. But I think that it's good to ignore the bad, like the bad advice. In my opinion, is always gonna, in my opinion, because that's really what it is at the end of the day, is that people focus on the wrong, I guess, like the wrong threats. Like the threats are real and they exist and they have their place, but they focus on like the schizophrenic threats, like the threats that don't really matter. They put their attention in the wrong spot. It's like my analogy of like you boarding up one hole, all your doors, and you leave one hole because you know it. Pointing to the well makes y'all think that I'm a retard. Oh no, we know you're retarded. You don't gotta poison the well. It's okay. Yeah, poisoning the well is a good measure because if there's ways that you can't delete the account or like if there's reasons you can't delete the account and whatever the reasons are, you should definitely make it more annoying to search for you. Again, in like hackers look for the low hanging fruit. They don't want to spend hours trying to figure out how to crack a password and or you know days or weeks or months or years trying to brute force into your server room or whatever. want the low hanging fruit. They want the easy stuff. Like it's like easy. First, delete your info on sites. I for a long time was not on any sites, but I got into medical debt. I'm on a site that reveals my location. Let's find out what it is. I mean, you should be able to remove it. There's so, I mean, this isn't like sponsored or anything, but these guys are pretty good from all the like all of the stuff that I read. It's $20 a year. This is what they do different. And Consumer Report has something called Pink Slip. But this is what they do different for $20 a year. They don't blast a bunch of websites. Because if a lot of these sites like Delete Me and all of them, they blast sites. They blast them with your information. So it might be sites that don't even have information, and they might collect it. You don't know. And that's what you're paying like $100 a year for something that is essentially a script. So I think it's only like 2 people for $20 a year. They give you I think they do like 4 removals a year. Like they remove everything once a quarter. And they actually only do sites that they can get their information. They sent I kind of did a test with it. They sent me a report, and they're like, "Hey, these sites we can't remove you from. There's a reason. Go here's the instructions to manually return. Like go do it. You can do it manually. It's just time consuming. But very good service. Very responsive. See you later, Billy." And their shit's 100% automated. This keeps their prices low, but also means that they never send your personal information to overseas or contractors or perform manual opt-outs, meaning like that they're just sending this out. So yeah, very good. And then there's something by the Consumer Report. They're a little bit more expensive, but they're called Pink Slip. Permission Slip. They're independent, nonprofit. They're like $10, I think, a month or something. Same cost. They do have a free one. They do have a free option. Is that Home Depot? But yeah, apparently they do a good job too. I don't know what their pricing is. I think it's like 10 or 15, maybe 20. I don't know. But the general advice is to do something like this, and in between, or do something like this. Do something like this, and then do it yourself while in between. And then fake information, like if you have Amazon, change your name. If you're getting stuff delivered from third parties, Give them a fake name if it's sent to your house. Who cares? Because that stuff will get caught, and it'll be like, oh, why does Audrey Hepburn live here? You know what I mean? Stuff like pick like just random name, like fake name generator. And Amazon lockers are even cooler. All you need to do is give a code. You don't have to KYC yourself. But if you pick outside of your domain, your house, or anything with like, that sounds like a great idea. You're like, oh, I just go pick it up. You have to show your ID, which is insane. You have to show your ID. They should be able to do a way to do like a code or something. And there's cameras everywhere, and I feel like it's less private because you're now entrusting another third party. Again, I don't want to say that you should go like schizophrenic and like think about the things that don't matter, but what does matter is like all it is someone drops it off at your house and they just think, Tom Testicles lived there. Who cares? They're definitely a good option. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me today. I have given an hour of my day, and I need to go and make bread because Jay told me so. Comment below what your favorite type of bread is, and if it's sourdough based, if it's not unbased, the best kind of bread is to get sourdough. Make sure you also do that so YouTube knows I'm a real person and I enjoy their platform and I love them and they have done nothing wrong to me. Make sure to